Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 10th episode of the Heavy Hour podcast. I am honestly absolutely surprised we made it this far. My mic is actually back to normal now, at least for the time being. Right, I should probably switch to this scene now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. I notice we don't have that many people in the chat, but you know what? I think that's fair enough for a time like this. My name is DJ Gorilla Jones. Of course, it is a pretty decent 70 degrees here in New York. Looks a bit like that smog from last week has returned, or maybe it's just going to be raining today. I'm not too sure. You can find out the weather in New York City for yourself. Of course, I think it's important that we talk a bit about competitive in Team Fortress 2. Of course, I'm not talking about Valve competitive. I'm talking about the many, many leagues that exist within Team Fortress 2's community. There are those such as RGL, UGC, and others, of course, such as, well, I don't know. You can find those out for yourself. There's ETF2L, there's region-based leagues. It's whatever. Of course, one of the most important formats within these leagues is a game mode that is known as Highlander. Highlander is, of course, a game mode where it's two teams, red and blue. There's 9 people per team, and each person is a different class. One of these people that I'm about to interview is a champion. He is a heavy main, and is a 2-3-time champion in not just Highlander, but also Sixes, and the not so well known UGC 4v4 format, and the somewhat dead Pro-Lander format. We have us with here tonight, or with here today, someone who really loves toucans. Please welcome the aptly named Toucan. How's it going, Toucan?
Hello.
All right.
Just gotta say a couple of things. I was tuning into the stream. I didn't know you lived in New York. How's it over there? Is the air quality any less bad?
It is. Well, it is somewhat less bad. It's a bit cloudy right now. But I feel like the smoke somewhat returned, or at least the smog returned, given the fact that I see a bit of sun and the sky seems to be obscured a bit. So.
Oh shit! I have family down there or over there, so I kind of when I heard that there was a wildfire, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, but don't worry. As long as they stayed indoors for like those 3 days, then all was good.
Well, yeah, no, I know one of them will stay indoors. I'm kind of scared about one of my grandmas who's moving there right now, or is already over there, just kind of trying to get situated over there. So I'm scared for them.
All right. Well, I mean that's fair enough. I wish them luck.
Also, just a bit more clarification on what you said with the leagues, right?
The league.
So,
Yes.
I've won 2 seasons of Highlander. I did not win fours. I did not win Pro-Lander. But I did play in those leagues. And I did not play in sixes.
Okay. All right. So, my apologies. A bit of a clarification from my interviewee there. I'm sorry. I may have read a couple things wrong.
Nah, it's all right.
All right.
Although I did want to play sixes, but it just didn't come to fruition.
It's all right. We'll have our differences when it comes to specific formats. Right. So, I mean, you've already sort of gave a bit of an introduction about yourself, but if you want, you can give just a bit more about yourself, just a general introduction. You don't need to go personal. Yeah.
Hello. I'm Toucan. I like toucans. I've been playing this game since 2015. I've been playing this game for quite some time. It's my favorite game now, but I've enjoyed playing heavy and yeah, no, that's pretty much it.
Okay. So, these are a few starter questions I usually ask for my interviewees, just to set the stage. How many hours do you have on heavy, and how long have you been playing the class specifically?
I've been playing this class for on and off throughout the years, but I've mostly just come to know that I'm a heavy main in 2020. But
Okay.
on two separate accounts, I think I've had a collective 2,000 hours on heavy.
2,000 hours. All right.
Yeah, and I've been mostly playing on and off because I was I was experimenting with a couple of class mains. I could say that I've like tried to main every single class before. It just didn't work.
All right. Well, it happens. Um,
Yeah.
what is your standard heavy weapon loadout?
Oh, it's normally just Stalker, Tommy, Sandwich, and Fist of Steel.
All right, so
I do not.
pretty
I
basic one. All right.
Yeah, I do not deviate from that much because I don't. I don't like to experiment. Although if I do want to experiment, I change the minigun and not any of the secondaries or melees.
All right. Um, what is your highest kill streak and average amount of kills per game with or without a pocket medic?
I think my highest kill streak was with a pocket medic on Whatville. We tried doing a challenge for Maxo Hex. I ended up getting around 76 kills in one life.
Ooh, nice. And without a medic, do you remember or?
I think without a medic or without like a dedicated pocket, I think my highest would probably be somewhere around 36, something like that.
Okay, so
But
what high kill
I
streak?
also, yeah, I also usually just don't play casual anymore.
Yeah,
If I had to,
you play a lot of Uncle Topia, I see.
well, Uncle Topia is just another form of casual. I go there just to dick around. I treat that like casual.
Oh,
But
all right.
usually when I would play like I'd usually play scrims, officials, and pickup games or pugs. So
That's
I'm mostly playing with higher level players all the time.
okay. So you really do like to give yourself a challenge. All right, good enough.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So this is really where we get into the nitty gritty of the interview. So take me through an extended story of your journey as a heavy main, why you chose to play heavy, major accomplishments as heavy, and any obstacles and setbacks in your journey, and how you got to where you are today.
A big fucking tall order I can give.
Go ahead.
So I started my journey back in 2015. I originally thought that I was going to be an engineer and scout main. I would call myself Scoutchineer. That was my first ever alias before I before I became a heavy medic main with the alias Pootisman74. Now I would rock with this for a little while, and I would actually try to get into competitive as medic in sixes, but it
Okay.
did not work out. I burnt myself out playing pickup games in TF2 Center, 124 of them that I will never forget, and I decided to quit TF2. That's when I deleted my first account, and that's when I realized, oh, well, fuck, I can't get rid of this game. I have to come back. So I came back September of 2021, or no, September of 2019, and played a bit there. Finally decided, you know what? I'm gonna try out. I'm gonna try out heavy, and it was a whole lot of fun. Just going into casual servers, dominating casual servers. I'm like, oh, maybe I should try getting into competitive still. Met my team leader in an Uncle Topia Swiftwater match back in 2020, and they said they like poached me. It was weird. I had like even nowadays you never find people looking for players on like casual or Uncle Topia servers. It was nuts. They met me on a casual server. They said, "Oh yeah, hey, I really thought that you played heavy well. Would you want to try out for this team?" And me being the gullible person that I am, I'm like, yeah, sure, but I need to make sure that I'm not banned off of TF2 Center just to play RGL. It turns out I was not banned because I left like one game or something like that. I don't know. It was for a stupid reason back then that I thought that I was going to get banned, but I played RGL. So we won our first season we've ever played, and I ended up playing with a invite level sniper and IM level players and newcomer. Couldn't attend my first ever like grand finals though. I was stuck at home, or I was stuck at a friend's house getting ready to move to a different place. But After that, I couldn't let go. I just wanted to get in. I wanted to win. And right now, I am playing in the second highest div against players that are better than me, are not better than me, are around my same level, and I'm having the most fun I've ever had with the game.
What's this div that you're playing on again? Is it main or is it advanced?
It's advanced.
It's advanced.
I won main back in the summer of 2022.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's been it's been a while. But it was also college was the kind of situation that I don't know. Even then I thought that I was going to make a lot of friends here, get away from TF2 for a bit, but that didn't work out. So I've been playing season 14, season 15 of Highlander, and well, hopefully we win the div. I have confidence in my team. We're going to be facing off against a team that's going to be not good. I'll just say that they're a throw team.
Ah, okay. Are they one of
Yeah,
those ETF2L teams hosted by Aspect?
not even
No disrespect to
ETFUL.
them.
No, just a friend team.
Ah, okay.
They're like I think advanced level players if they played their main classes, but they're just not playing their main classes. They're just sticking around having fun. I
Yeah.
respect it.
I mean, yeah, you know what? I'd respect them too, even though it's a throwaway team. You'd sometimes feel bad for those kinds of teams too. You'd think, you know what? Let them win. Let's just see what happens to them within the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I'm not letting them win.
Okay, you know what?
Fuck
All right,
that.
yeah, sure, sure.
No. I really want to win this. I really want to win the div right now.
Uh,
And if I let them win, I would feel so fucking like terrible. I will not let them win flank. I will not let them win point. If they try bombing or if they try bombing my med or sending a sack, I'm just going to deny it. That's what I'm gonna do.
you know what? Fair enough. I respect the grind.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so this is about heavy, more or less. This is where most of the debate comes in this section in the interview. So, um, what can be changed about the heavy class in your eyes?
Uh, just trying to think right now because I've mostly played this class for so long. I found out that every single one of the weaknesses that Heavy has and all the strengths that Heavy can give to its team, for me, they're generally like perfectly balanced with the game. With the game as movement based as TF2, Heavy seems like the antithesis. He seems like the person that does the opposite of what any other class would normally do. You
Hmm.
have Soldier, Scout, Demo, all movement classes. You have Sniper, who's basically just, you know, cone of vision, kills people straight through a line across the map. I find that fun. I find that fun to fight against. I'm not against playing Sniper. I'm not against Sniper mains. That shit's fun. And even as a heavy main, dude, you can have so many ways of countering Sniper that you could do this shit as a heavy, and it's so much fun in so much fun in pubs, so much fun in pugs, just to like dominate a sniper because you're better than them, or because you have a better strategy or better team. I feel like if anything, heavy is mostly balanced behind the fact that he can't really do much. He's the glue that holds the team together, but he's not the spike, you know. He's not the spear that spearheads through a push. He can be sometimes, and he could definitely defend a point or, aggress a point if he has enough team support and if he's close enough. But those situations don't often happen and requires that the other team does not pay attention or just doesn't like they don't look at shit, I guess.
More
They're
oblivious, I'd
blind.
say, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if anything, I don't know. That's also based off of my experience with competitive and the fact that playing heavy the is not the role that it's depicted to be. I was originally thinking before I ever played competitive that the class slot screen for heavy just didn't make sense. Like, how could he be a defense class and do this much damage? The highest single target damage in the game. But as time went on, I slowly just realized that it was true. Heavy was built around defense. You treat it like a defensive class, and you play it defensively aggressive. You see an opportunity, you take it. Nothing more to say.
Wow, that's actually kind of, for some reason, that went kind of deep. That should not,
Oh, I know.
and yet it did.
Well, I mean, I thought about this for a while. Like, I wouldn't say any of this stuff if I haven't thought about this for a while. Not because you sent me over the questions, but because I've been thinking about this for most of my time in my TF2 career. What I can do as a class and what I could do with my class. What the class provides for the team, what the class provides for me. What I can do to other players, what other players can do to me, that sort of conversation. And it's not just about what you can do against other players. It's what you believe that you can do. Because a lot of the barriers that you face as players are mental, but some of them are baked into the design of the game. You can't rocket jump as heavy. You have to find opportunities like that. You got to be like, oh yeah, I have an overheal and I see 3 stickies on product. I'm just gonna use that surf and kill their med. I've seen that happen. I can 2 of my mentors actually have clips of them doing that exact thing as heavy on product. It's funny.
It's very rare too. My word.
Yeah, no, it's like jump scare. It's jump scare material. It's like Foxy from FNAF.
Wow. I've seen clips. There was another heavy main who I should interview. Someone who mentored me back then, Train. There were clips of him doing that against like demos, just bombing straight in.
Yep.
That's
using their own stickies. It's funny as hell.
Yeah. Someone said heavy jump scare at 12:38. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
I think I know Train, but the people that I was talking about were Caboose and BBL.
BBL, I know BBL. I should get him on. I know he doesn't play heavy anymore, but it would be cool to get his original perspective.
Yeah, especially with him as a former boxing league heavy, or whatever the league is called.
National Heavy Boxing League. I didn't know.
Yeah.
That. Okay. Next question. Heavy mains that have inspired you, if there are any, and heavy main YouTubers or videos that you see are the best source for help as heavy.
Oh, I'm having fun with this one. You thought that one was better? You thought that one was deep, methodical? All right, let me give something that's the antithesis of that.
Go ahead.
Let's start off with YouTubers. I don't think there's any heavy YouTuber that provides enough information for people to get the grasp of the class. I think that most heavy YouTubers mostly just play the game for fun and not to teach, and I respect that aspect, but I also find that their advice-giving skills are funny.
Okay.
Have you ever seen the Big Joey aim training video? That shit is just so fucking dumb.
Well, how so?
Well, in the video, he's like, all right, so you know there's TF2 maps where you can train aiming, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go there. Okay. And like general heavy tips. One of them I unironically use. He like gives trivia facts. It's like, did you know that if you have a pocket medic running right behind you, you could just like throw the sandwich underneath your legs and they will run into it. That's like the only good tip that he's given.
I do that too.
No, because that's like the only good tip. I generally hate all the things that he said about jump revving. Fucking jump revving around corners is not done as much as it was back then. But back then, the sentiment of that was just stupid. Because as a heavy, you don't want to be jumping into combat immediately. You want to take your time, plan out shit, and play your positions right. You always want to be revved. jumping around a corner is only fine if you jump before the corner, rev, and then just peek it like you would normally. I think that was one of his most egregious points that I despise to this day.
Um, can you elaborate a bit more on the aim training video? Because unlike you, I actually did find that video a bit useful because it actually helped me get a bit used to random strafing. Um, can you maybe
Well,
elaborate a bit more on your, like what you're adamant in regards to that video?
well, I mean, here's the thing. With the video, it's just discussing topics that people would normally find in game. I don't think you need a guide to understand the basics of strafing. You know, you press A and D, and you do it in different directions at different times. It's mostly apparent in Scout MGEs. They always do that. They always strafe towards the left and right. Hell, even the term strafing, you could apply that to Soldier, Demo, NG, Med, even Heavy if you really wanted to. Like, movement in video games should be a fundamental thing that people understand. And I just feel like countering strafing isn't something that any sort of video could present to an audience. That's something that needs to be learned in game. That's something that needs to be practiced. And I don't know. I know they're like guide videos, but they should really just be treated as like they're like a checkpoint, you know? Like what their journey is like, not as something that people should take advice off of. Because advice in that regard just won't work for some players. Some people won't put in that dedication, but they'll still complain about strafing. Some people will, and will see that that response is kind of a little bit too basic. You know, it's like, what do you do against strafing? Oh, I don't know. Oh, you just hold your mouse still? Oh, okay. Oh, you guide the player? Oh, okay. It's different for everyone. You have to know what you have to do at all times, but that doesn't mean that you can't necessarily apply information. No, hold up, my bad. Sorry. um, so a lot of the aim training videos, I don't know. I don't really see any advice from as opposed to what you can do in game.
Um,
For
okay.
me,
What about
yeah.
Rider Cycle? What is your opinion on his videos? Because he was mentioned a few times before in some of my videos.
Writer Cycle. I haven't watched a whole lot of his videos, but I feel like I don't know. Uh, his videos were popular during Meet Your Match, Jungle Inferno. I remember that.
Yeah,
I'm
I've
just
been
trying to
watching
remember.
those too.
Yeah. Um, to be honest, I wouldn't know. I won't give an opinion on that because I do not know the. I have not really watched a lot of his videos
Hmm.
as a heavy main because during that time I was also experimenting, so there's no need.
Okay. But
But I will say this though. I've been saying that like aim trainer videos are not really good, and I haven't really been able to give any advice, or I haven't really been able to explain why I think that advice is bad.
it's all right. Um,
Yeah.
of course, going back to your question, what are there any specific videos that you would recommend? Like frag videos. Would you recommend those to those that are wanting to play heavy?
I would only show those if you really wanted to see the rewards, the benefits of improving the class by yourself.
Mm.
I think the only YouTube video that I would ironically showcase is a 15-year-old heavy guide.
Mm. Okay.
I don't have the link with me, but that video goes hard.
Mm. Well, if you have the time, you can send it to me. I could definitely watch that.
Yeah, no, it's it's dope as hell. 15-year-old video, and I see shit and I see shit in that video that rings true today. It's awesome.
Mm. All right. Um. Okay. Next question. We're getting a bit close to the end, but this is basically the last of like all the main questions. What are some tidbits of advice that you would give to those that are either struggling or new to heavy? And what are some maps and strategies that you would recommend?
I think that a lot of this is based off of experience, as you know, experience that only can be that only can be earned from playing so many hours in a game. And for me, playing heavy, I've mostly I've mostly just learned how to identify situations and sort of deal with them. For example, aim training. You have a jumpy scout, you learn how to deal with him. Every single kind of jumpy scout is different. Some people jump over your head, others just jump left or right over you. And people don't really know how to aim down or up. They only know how to aim left or right, which is a skill that I'm still practicing to this day. But, these concepts, they need to be learned by individuals, by themselves. And that's something that no guide can really give. Another thing that people need to realize is like, hey, you know what? It's kind of relatively easy to do it. I can explain it, but that wouldn't give it justice. People learning hands-on is just better. Because if you learn it hands-on, you're like, oh, I can apply this to different situations. And then those situations fail, and then they have to adapt. Another situation where that could be applied is like not getting matadored by spies.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like you have a jumpy scout, you have a spy trying to strafe left to right in front of you. You can't play that the same way. You'd have to think differently, but you can apply some of the same strategies because I don't know. I think of everything like that as like a mini fight. It's like a round in Street Fighter. You identify what the opponent can do. You counter using the character's specific abilities. Heavy is a class that has a automatic firing weapon. Want to know what I do sometimes? Sometimes I don't move my mouse and they run straight into it. They run straight into the line of fire that I'm presenting. And it works sometimes. But that's only something that you can do if you read your opponent. If you know that they're going to be strafing in a different direction and you don't really feel like moving your mouse. And that also has its benefits that I won't get into, but a lot of advice I'd have to give to positioning. Positioning on heavy is so crucial, so important, that if you don't understand basic positioning, you just cannot play that class right. And I don't mean positioning as in like, oh yeah, I'm gonna win in this positioning. No, it's more like, what can I do to support my teammates? What can I do to support a teammate? Sometimes it could just be one person. You could sit by a sniper and basically act as their bodyguard. You could sit by an NG and just wait for people, or you could sit by your medic. You could sit by your demo, just helping your demo with a line of fire, dealing 50 extra damage or picking off a target that they couldn't pick off, and also dealing with bombers. Heavy's really good for that. A lot of these situations are just, I don't know, it also is based off of experience, but it also can just be general ideas. I could say for upward first, if you play on defense, you could play by the staircase where heavies usually stand, but that's a spot reserved for the most aggressive players. When the team is equally as aggressive, you stand there with no team support, you're going to get mulched. That 300 HP is going to look like nothing. In upward, sometimes you might have to sit on bats, just protecting your sniper from bombers and spies. And then, only then, when you see that people are dead, or you have an advantage up your foot, you just walk in. Just get shit done. Just try to experiment with maps and see what you can get away with, but also understand that, you have to support people, and you have to play your positions right.
Wow. Okay. That also went kind of deep.
Yep.
Yeah, that is quite one of the harsh realities of Heavy. He's a very, you're describing, Heavy the way I play it, a bit passively, of course. Not really, not really fully aggressive out there. Usually the kind of stereotype that Heavy is given, especially in some Heavy communities. Usually,
Well, yeah.
yeah, usually not. I think people should play a bit more like you. There is one of the people I interviewed earlier, McNam Jam. He's a competitive Heavy main. He's a Highlander Steel Heavy. I saw some of his frag videos. He plays a bit like that. He does play. There's that video of him managing to single-handedly stop an entire push on the last with, I think, just maybe another demo. But yeah, no, I think playing Heavy passively is more or less the way to go.
Well, no, it's not necessarily playing heavy passive. It's just playing it smart. Because one thing I forgot to mention throughout all of this is coordination.
Yeah, coordination.
You coordinate with the team. It's just gonna be so fucking good. Trying to walk into a point, trying to defend it. Hell, you mentioned that the Steel Heavy player, he was playing with his demo. He
Yeah.
didn't single-handedly do it. He got help from his demo. He got help from his medic, a sniper maybe even a spy.
I mean,
All of these things.
I'll have to show you the video. I think maybe you can see for yourself.
Yeah, no, of course. And heavies have the abilities to go on like 5-man or to get a 5-man pick, even in competitive. I've done that a couple of times,
Yeah.
handful of times, but
It's
a
rare,
couple of
and usually relies on the enemy being oblivious.
No, it usually applies to them just walking in, and you just doing work with your team.
Okay, and that too.
Yeah, and I can't also give advice for coordination. That's just more of like, hey, can you work with your friends? Or hey, can you yell at or hey, how patient are you with casual players?
That's a funny way to put it. Yeah, it usually
Yeah.
sucks whenever you die because you could have just had some bit of help there. I
Well,
get it a lot.
yeah, yeah. No, heavy is surprisingly not meant for damage. He's just meant to pick off targets. That's the weird part. Like I've been mentioning how demo is usually the one who gives off damage, and you're the one who picks them apart, or you deal 50 damage and you just pick them off anyway.
Yeah, you're gonna get a lot of assists as heavy. Yeah, that's why.
Ah,
Maybe that's one
yeah,
of the weird perks of playing passively. You don't get kills, you get assists.
yeah. And then you find the opportunities to be aggro. I say you play smart. I don't mean you play passive. You can play passive, but that's not playing smart. Because you could be doing so much more, and that's what I strive for.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I want to say, of course, thanks for coming on. These two questions, we're basically don't follow the main stuff. These two questions are questions I usually ask to like basically close out the interview as small, fun little nitbit questions I ask my interviewees. So, best song genre to listen to while you pub stomp or play heavy or something.
I usually don't listen to music, but if I do, I will listen to anything that is not country. So if you listen to country music while you play heavy, you're weird. You're very weird. But usually the best ones are rock or hard jazz.
Hard jazz.
Usually with a screaming saxophone.
Wow. Okay. And this final question, it's the $1 billion question that's been plaguing the heavy community since its inception. Tomislav or the stock minigun? I might as well ask.
Do you want me to give you a short answer or a long answer?
Go. I mean, you can give whatever answer you feel. I have all the time in the world.
Beast. So, you generally want to use Tomislav for a lot of general situations. A lot of situations where you cannot be up close, or the position just doesn't allow you to be up close. The Tomislav is good for dealing damage at range, but it misses out when it comes to dealing with heavies up close. Even if, and this has been tested out, you can win with Tomislav. That does not matter. That's if it's perfect. And because heavy's minigun range is so big, it cannot be perfect. By design, it will just not hit every shot. You can try. Sometimes you might succeed. But stock will just outperform Tomislav in like close range situations 9 times out of 10. And stock should only be used in close range situations. It's actually kind of a bit. I don't know. It's like every single ability that stock and Tomislav have are pretty much the same, because they deal with spies effectively. They deal with bombers effectively. One where the damage is more controlled, concentrated, whereas the minigun is more, here's more bullets, fly away further. But, yeah, no, you generally want to figure out the situations where you can use it, or can't use it, or whether it be beneficial or not beneficial to use those. I sometimes rock stock when I play Vigil all the way on, like, 4th, for example. And that's something that not many people understand, but to give you the rundown on defense, sometimes you have to stand really close to the you'd have to play a corner right by tracks where the cart goes. And heavies usually run minigun. And right by that area is a flank that you also have to control, with a corner that minigun benefits from, because it's so close range and enclosed. So just see what you can get away with, and more power to you, I guess.
Okay. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the Heavy Hour podcast. This was my interviewee, Tuca. Tuca, are there any final words you'd like to say to the podcast before we officially close this thing out?
Don't be a bitch.
Okay, very wise and philosophical words here.
Yes.
All right, Tuca, I'd like to say thank you for coming on or taking your time to be on this on our 10th episode of the podcast. Man,
Thank you for having me be here, though. That's this was dope. I like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I was 100% recommend